So, unfortunately, we learned of the news of Bill Walton's tragically passing away yesterday, and we talked about him on Tuesday's show, and how much of an icon he was, and what a great human he was, and what an interesting individual he was. And I know that you have a personal relationship with him. And at one point, you told a reporter that you would fight anybody to the death if that you heard them speak ill of Bill Walton. And I want to hear your story about Bill and why he meant so much to you.
Yeah, that was an article. Katie Baker, the wonderful writer for The Ringer, wrote it. And but I'll try not to make it too long. I apologize, guys.
No, go as
Yeah.
long. We loved Bill. We
Yeah.
talked about it on our show. We had the joy of getting to interview him once, and it's like when I retire someday, that will be up there with, like, I got to spend 3 hours with Bill Walton. Like,
Yep.
that was incredible.
That's up there for me as well. The story was this is about 15 years ago. My dad had Parkinson's disease, and it was advancing to the point where we were worried he's not going to get out of the house. He wasn't going to be able to get out of the house. Now, we lived in New York, and my younger brother Pete called me up and said, "Hey, before he can't travel anymore, let's take him to see the USS Midway. The Midway is the aircraft carrier. It's in San Diego right now as a museum. And my dad served on the Midway in the Korean War. Had not been on the ship since he left the service. So we made plans to go and take him out to see the Midway one last time. And I called Bill because Bill lives in San Diego. I said, I need a hotel recommendation. Well, of course, Bill's like, "You're not staying in a hotel. You're staying in my home." So we planned this 3-day trip out there. And for 3 days, when we get out there, Bill was by my father's side for 3 straight days. First thing he did is he put him in the bedroom, the Bob Dylan room. All Bill's rooms in his home were named after people, mostly musicians. And the Bob Dylan room was a place of honor. So he put my dad in the Bob Dylan room. And, every meal, "John, you sit here next to me. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. We'd go for drives to places. "John, you sit in the front seat with me." They were inseparable for 3 days. Bill would not leave his side. And then the day we went to see the Midway, where I was thinking we're just going to go buy tickets like anybody who can get a tour. Well, the day before, he had called over to the Midway and told them that one of your heroes is returning to the ship that he served on. So when we get there, we are greeted by the commander of the Midway, and he takes us on this 2-hour tour in and out. And guys, an aircraft carrier is no place for a 7-foot man who has back, knee, and ankle problems. It was a painful walk for Bill, but he, every step of the way, never left my father's side. It was really emotional for my dad, going back and the condition he was in. And he broke down a couple of times. And every time he broke down, my brother and I did the same thing. And I'd look at Bill, and there's Bill. He's got tears just streaming down his cheeks. So then we get back to the house after just an amazing day that meant so much to my father, and that Bill came with him. I couldn't find the two of them. I'm like, where'd they go? Bill had a teepee in his yard. I mean, an enormous teepee that you could sleep a number of people. And I go back looking. There's the two of them sitting in the teepee, just talking about life, and Bill listening to my father's stories and back and forth. So when we left, Bill wasn't my friend. Bill was my father's friend. And he didn't live much longer after that. And my mother, who's still alive, she said until he passed, he talked about that all the time. It was in a tough stretch. The end of his life was very difficult. Those were the 3 best days in the last years of his life. And there's a huge picture still in this day. My mother still lives in the same house. There's a huge picture of the two of them sitting in the teepee together that she adores the picture. And when I was given the Gowdy Award at the Basketball Hall of Fame, I took my whole family up there, including my mother. And there are so many NBA legends there. She had no interest, and she's a basketball fan. She had no interest in meeting any of them. She just kept saying to me, "Where's Bill? I need to meet Bill Walton." And when she met him, and I get emotional even thinking about it. She just wanted to say thank you for what you did for my husband.
Yeah.
What he did those 3 days were 3 of the happiest days of my father's life.
It's incredible.
That's such a good story.
Yeah, I mean
What a good guy.
and that is so Bill Walton. Like he just, like I said, even the 3 hours we spent with him, he makes you feel like the most important person in the world, and he does that for. It seems like he did that for everyone.
Right. You think you're the only one that he's sending these wonderful texts to, or he's doing those. He does it for.
Yeah, I know.
And it's, how many people in our lives, when they say your name or say their name to you, the first reaction you have is you smile or you laugh. And anytime anybody would say, hey, tell me about Bill Walton, I'd either laugh or smile, and then I'd go into a story. And that's the gift he gave all of us, in that no matter if he was with you or even when he wasn't with you, when he came up, you had to smile.
That's awesome.
Yeah.